10 Golden Rules of Eating in Chinese Medicine. The 10 Golden Rules of Eating in Chinese Medicine. Chew your food well. This will help the stomach to mature and rot the ingested food so that the spleen can transform it. From a Western perspective, the digestive process starts in the mouth. Chewing the food will increase the surface area that the digestive enzymes in the mouth can work on. Chewing will also help to physically break down the cell walls and mix the ingested food with the digestive enzymes. Furthermore, food that is physically cold will also be warmed up before descending into the stomach. This, as we will see in the second golden rule, is something that is important from both Western and Chinese perspectives. Avoid eating cold food. Example, food that is physically cold, such as raw vegetables, salads, cold beverages, and food eaten directly from the refrigerator, as well as food that is energetically cold. From a Western perspective, physically cold food will negatively affect the digestion because the gastric enzymes are most efficacious when the temperature in the stomach is between 37 and 42 degrees Celsius. When foods and beverages that are physically cold are consumed, these enzymes will be less effective and the digestion will thereby be weakened. Chinese medicine states that the spleen fears cold. The consumption of the energetically and physically cold foods and beverages burdens the spleen because the spleen must expend more yang qi to warm and transform the ingested food. In the long run, too many cold foods and beverages can lead to spleen qi shu and spleen yang shu. Eat as much prepared food as possible, especially things like soup and stews. This is because if the food has been cooked in some way, the transformation process has already been initiated, thereby placing less demand on the resources of the stomach and spleen. Even though there are more vitamins and minerals in a raw carrot, the body will not necessarily be able to access, extract, and absorb as many nutrients from a raw carrot as it will from a steamed, stir-fried, or boiled carrot. The cooking process helps to break down the cell walls in the food so that the nutrients can be more easily released into the digestive system and absorbed through the intestinal wall. If the person insists on eating raw or unprepared food, they should ensure that the food is very finely chopped or grated and that they can chew it thoroughly. Drinking some hot ginger tea with the raw food will also help. Do not drink too much water or other beverages and drink between meals. Too much liquid will drown the spleen's digestive fire. A single cup of hot water or tea can, on the other hand, support the process. The stomach hates dryness. This also makes sense from a Western perspective. Too much fluid will dilute and thereby weaken the acidity of the stomach. This will have a negative impact on the gastric enzymes, which function optimally in an acidic environment. Do not eat too much food. Eat until you are 75% full. Otherwise, you will overburden the stomach and the spleen, which could cause food stagnation because the spleen will not be able to transform so much food in one go, and the stomach will have difficulty rotting and ripening the food, as well as sending it downwards from the spleen that has transformed it. From a Western perspective, it takes a while for the brain to register that the stomach is full. This means that the stomach is full before you are aware that you are full. It also takes time for the food to move down through the esophagus and into the stomach. Eat your main meal as early as possible and avoid eating in the evening prior to going to bed. Chinese medicine posits that the yang process of the transformation and transportation halt at night and only begin once more in the morning, when yang activity in general increases again. This means that if you eat late at night, the food stagnates and remains untransformed in the stomach, where it will begin to generate heat. In general, the main meal should be eaten as early in the day as possible. In relation to Chinese medicine horary clock, the stomach and spleen are at their strongest between 7 and 11 in the morning, and therefore at their weakest between 7 and 11 in the evening. In Western medicine physiology, Peristalsis and digestion cease at night, so the food remains undigested in the stomach. Many cultures, in fact, have sayings along the line of eat like a king in the morning, a peasant at lunchtime, and a beggar in the evening. Choose foods that have vitality. This can be seen, for example, when the vegetables are crisp and juicy or when the eyes of a fish are still bright and not dull. In practice, this means as much fresh food as possible. Picked vegetables, for example, contain many more vitamins than vegetables that have been transported and stored. Avoid industrially produced food, such as a ready made meal and canned foods. Not only do they contain very little chi, but they also usually contain various chemicals and additives such as preservatives, flavor enhancers, artificial flavorings, emulsifiers, and so on, as well as excessive salt and sugar. Enjoy what you eat. This nourishes the heart. We eat not only to create Gucci, but also for a variety of emotional reasons such as comfort and security, as well as the sheer pleasure obtained from the taste, smell, and sight of good food. This enjoyment is often accentuated by the pleasure of eating with others. Strict Spartan diets will remove this source of nourishment of the heart. Frustration and irritation over dietary restrictions will also stagnate liver qi. If you're going to eat something that you know is not good for you, do so with guilt. Guilt will not only increase the negative effect that this food has on the body, instead, really enjoy every mouthful, savoring the taste. Even though the food may be creating dampness or heat or whatever, it will at least nourish the heart. Try to eat in as tranquil a state as possible. It is best to sit down and relax whilst eating and to avoid stress and quarrels. Heated discussions can disrupt the liver qi, which may then invade and disrupt the stomach and spleen qi ji. Stress can also disrupt the qi ji in the middle jiao, as will worry and speculation. It is best not to read, watch television, or surf the internet whilst eating. Qi should be used to digest food and not information during the transformation of the food. Sit upright in a relaxed position and do not twist the trunk or sit in a slump position. A twisted or slump posture will block the free passage of food and qi in the middle and lower jiao. From a Western medicine perspective, these postures will hamper the peristalsis of the intestines. Gentle stretching exercises or going for a light walk after a meal will help to circulate qi in the middle jiao, thereby supporting the stomach and spleen qi. Or in Western terms, it will activate the abdominal muscles, thereby supporting peristalsis. Sun Si Miao recommended that a person walks 100 steps after meals, but that they do not count the number of steps. Thank you for your attention.